Hi, welcome to Astrology for Gann Traders. My name is Olga Morales. Now, I've had another question regarding aspects today using Optuma. Previous video I showed planetary lines, so now how do we put aspects on our charts? So what we do is we go to Tools, Astro, and then we go down the line. There's Gann planetary lines, which we've done already. So if we keep going down and you see planetary aspects, so click on that, click on your chart. So by default, there's a setting with Mercury sextile Venus. So we're going to change that. I mean, you can put in a lot of information or not too much, depending what you want to look at. So recently on Twitter, I've been talking about the moon. So we've got one planet, okay? Then we've got the second planet. So I'm going to put Pluto because that's just happened in the last few hours. And then we want to look at the aspects. So what aspect do you want to look at? I just want to look at the conjunction for now. You can change the colors of this as well. And the other time also you want to have where you want to set it. A lot of the times I do GMT. So you put it at 0. Okay. Now, there's also the question of orb. How big do you want to show the actual aspect? Do you want 2 degrees? With the moon, it's okay because the moon moves really fast. But if you've got outer planets, you want a really tight orb. Okay, so I'll just leave the 2 in there. And you can extend that. Sorry, let me go back to the orb. You can extend that to the whole chart. If I go back to orb, view over the whole chart. So we can see here that the moon conjunct Pluto. If you're doing research, this is what I do anyway. If there's an aspect coming up and you're not sure about what it's going to do, because some aspects can be, especially with Pluto, as I just talked about in Twitter, it can be a destructive planet, but it can also be very powerful. So with the conjunction, it's a variable. Okay, so but if you look back, you can see a lot of the times that it's actually at a high point. Okay, so it can be quite powerful, and at other times it's once the aspect has separated, which means there's applying and separating. Applying means the moon's coming to Pluto, and separating means that the moon's moving away from Pluto. So that's when it loses its power. Anyway, I teach more in my courses about this. So you can see how often. Now remember, the moon, we're going to have this as a monthly cycle. So it's interesting that this has just come in today, or, in the last few hours anyway, while I was sleeping. And people were panicking about the CPI figures, but it's actually turned out to be a bullish move. Okay, so it can be a powerful aspect. Now, if you want to change that, just say there's another aspect coming up, which we know there's going to be something coming up the next few days, or tomorrow, I think, with the full moon. We say Sun. We can have Saturn and Uranus. You can put the lunar nodes in there. Let's just leave them for now. Okay. Now, not just the conjunction, we want to put in another aspect. So let's click on that. And we want to put in the square. Now, I change the colors. Squares are red. Usually the conjunction I keep as a blue because that's variable depending on the planets involved. Okay. So we'll see that what's coming up here. You might want to change the orb too. You can change it. You can see where we've had these conjunctions and squares between these planets in the past to give you an indication of what may happen. Okay, so the astrology is all about probability and also statistics. So if you look back, what has an aspect done before, you can sort of, with a confidence, but always percentage-wise, what it might do in the future. Okay, Gann always says look back before you can predict the future. So a lot of it is research about aspects and what they've done before. So you can do that as well, and then we can look at whatever you like. I mean, there's so many things. Now, I try not to put too much on my chart, what I do is I limit, like when I know what aspects are coming up in the month, then I will just plot those combination of planets on my charts, or else you get too much information. Like I'll show you what happens if you put everything on your chart. Everyone says to me, oh, well, there's so many lines, which ones do you know? Well, you know, if I start putting all the planets on, sorry, let's just do the first one. Okay. You're just going to get way too much information. You can see that, okay? Like heaps. So, you know, how do you know what you're doing? And I've only got 2 aspects in there. So if I put in all the aspects, it's like, you know, like let's just put the classical ones. We're putting tri now. I'm going to make that green because that's positive. You put in an opposition, we'll make that red. We make the sextile green. Okay. So you can, in a way, look at these panels to give you an indication if there's more like negative energy coming in that period, more positive in this period, because they're longer term. See, this is actually telling you, look at the information in the box. It's saying Neptune sextile true node. It tells you the exact time. Enter, exit. That's because I'm still using a 2-degree orb. See what I meant about how much orb you're going to give these transits. With outer planets, it's going to be there for a longer time. So this is where you have to get a little bit more, you know, the more you do, the more you'll see what aspects you want to use. And here we've got, in this red box here, if I go red, again, you can see that Saturn is square the true node. So that's got a negative energy to it, and actually that's worked out quite well. Now, these are not transits to the natal chart. These are just daily transits in the heavens, which will be applicable to everything, really. You know, it's not specific to Bitcoin. In my harmonic indicator, I do use the natal chart, which makes it more specific for Bitcoin, but still you need to know what aspects are happening on a daily basis. Okay, I mean, look at this. We've got Mars square Saturn. Okay, this is the top here, and we've got quite a lot of red happening up there. So, you know, the whole beauty about Astro-Trading, the Gann way, is that he always looked at the aspects that were occurring. I mean, I've put that on Twitter. He had something for a coffee that he was warning people about the aspects coming up for coffee, and to be aware of it was going to cause, it was adverse, and there'd be massive swings coming up. So, you know, it's how far you want to go with this. I mean, you can plot your transits manually on your chart if you don't want to buy software, but this does it all for you, and it's got, you know, so many Gann tools in here. It's not just Astro. It's got every Gann possible combination here that I use quite a bit. You know, Gann boxes, mass presser chart, squaring of the range. There's so much in here. So anyway, if you want to have a trial, I recommend you do, because I don't think there's any other software that is more comprehensive and you know, focused on Gann. The tools are amazing. So and you can do this on any time frame. So if you've been following me on Bitcoin on Twitter, we can also do it on intraday. Okay, so I've got all my aspects drawn and my planetary lines on a 30-minute chart, which is live data coming in from CryptoWatch. So there's so many things you can do. The more you experiment, you become more proficient with it. So thank you for listening.